Hello there, fellow show skiers. This video is the really long version of how to do basic music editing. And there's been two other versions I've put out already. They're available on the Badgerland Water Ski Team YouTube channel. This is Eric Grand, by the way. I've got them on my own YouTube channel. You can find them there. And they are also on the, Shauna gave me permission to, they're also on the Naughty Girl YouTube channel as well. So they're kind of is all over the place, but I got some feedback. I mean, the initial feedback for those of you who haven't watched those videos, in the lead up to the 2023 season for Flaunt It and Dub It, there were enormous amounts of questions about how to edit music. And I'm not talking about advanced editing, just the very basics. How to loop a 3-minute song and make it a little bit longer than 5 minutes so it's ready for a swivel or doubles routine. Although what I'm going to show you in this video also applies to show music for your own show ski team. Although there you might need to get a little bit more involved than what I'm doing here. And it's not just always looping, but sometimes you're mixing from one song to another. So when I came out with the other videos that just showed you how to do the looping, there were some people who said, hey, I'm not really tech literate and I do need help and I'm just a beginner competitor. Can you do a really detailed version? Well, this is it, folks. This is the long one, really detailed, every mouse click all the way through. So if you don't want that much detail, go find the other videos. They're only several minutes long. This one could easily be 30 minutes by the time we get done. So a couple little things background-wise on this. First of all, have an understanding that there are more than one way, there's more than one way to do this. There's a lot of different audio editors out there or sound editors. They're also sometimes called waveform editors. And I'm going to focus on one called Audacity because it is free and it is available for both Mac and Windows computers. It's totally free, doesn't cost you a thing. It's not even really shareware where you might need to pay a small fee later on or do advertisements or whatever. It is totally free, so it's great to use. It doesn't mean that that is the only solution. And if you're going to do more advanced editing, it's probably not the best solution. There are much better editors out there, but they get very pricey very quickly. Some of them can cost hundreds of dollars per copy. Along with that, if you have a friend that is tech literate or is a creator or a digital media person, my best advice is tap that person, buy them a drink, whatever you need to do, give them a hug. I don't care, but I would use that person and ask them to loop your music for you. Not that this is a bad skill to have, because if you're going to continue in show skiing long enough, it's a good skill to have both for your own individual competitions, but also to help out your team as well. Other things to keep in mind while watching this video, that I don't want to dive into legal ramifications of where you're getting your music from or not. I'm going to tell you right now, the way you should do it is you should purchase your audio tracks from a high quality, reliable source. And the two that I'm going to demonstrate are the iTunes store from Apple and the Amazon Music store, because you are actually buying the track and you own it. Questions have come up about YouTube and can I just rip stuff off of there and everything? Well, first of all, the audio quality doesn't tend to be as good. It tends to be much lower. And when you amplify that up, 1,000 watts at a big show site or a tournament site, it gets muffled and distorted. And again, I don't want to jump into the legal ramifications of that because it's borderline illegal. Yes, I do realize and I fully comprehend fair use laws at the federal level, but I don't want to get into that. I'm not an attorney and I don't want to be liable for this either. All right, so there's some of the background on this. This is really aimed at beginners looping music for swivel and doubles routines, and if it helps you out in other ways, excellent. This is going to be long, so it's chaptered out. Look in the description down at the bottom on the YouTube window, and in the description you will find links that chapter this out, as well as links to the two shorter versions of this video as well. So click those chapters if you want to skip over sections. Let's get started. All right, part 2 of this video, we are jumping into how to purchase music. I am demoing this on a Mac computer and doing a screen recording off of here. That's just easier for me. However, this works exactly the same on Mac or Windows. Doesn't matter. And I'm going to show you the two primary music sources that I would suggest. Number one is the iTunes Music Store. On a Mac, I'm actually in the Music app. So Apple has rebranded this a little bit. On the Windows side, you're still using the iTunes app, and that's what's available there to give you direct access on a computer. And by the way, I'll mention a couple other times through the video, I do not suggest doing this on a mobile device. Getting the music and getting it to where you need it and actually editing it is darn near impossible on a mobile phone. It can be done on a tablet like an iPad or Samsung Android tablet. It's possible there, but it's way easier on a computer, laptop, or desktop with a full-blown mouse and keyboard. All right, so on the Mac, you've opened up Music, or if you're on Windows, on the iTunes Store, and you do click on the iTunes Store where you can purchase stuff. Do a search, and again, I'm trying to show you every mouse click on this one. So I'm searching the iTunes Store, and I am not a Taylor Swift fan by any stretch, so I probably just made a whole bunch of enemies there. That's fine, but it's music that I don't have. And so I'm actually going to purchase a track here. I'm going to use Anti-Hero. I'm going to imagine I'm making a Swivel mix for somebody. And so I'm going to grab and purchase this. And yes, you do want to buy it, so you own that track. So give me a moment while I get my credentials in here. Sorry, this is a brand new computer. I normally don't have to do all this. All right, so it's already downloaded that. I have that track now in my library, you know, to use as I wish. And so I need to get it actually out of here. And this works the same, again, on Windows as it does on a Mac. And so now I'm going to switch over and I'm going to go into my songs library and look up Taylor Swift on my own library. And here's my song, and now I can just drag it out. So I'm going to drag it out on my desktop. This should work the same on Windows as well. You should be able to drag the actual song itself out there. And coming from the iTunes library, it comes in the new audio format, which is M4A, which is a higher quality format than MP3, so that's a great way to do it. So that is purchasing music on a Mac, Windows as well, through the iTunes Store. Here's the alternate version of that. If you go to Amazon, and within Amazon, there's a store that not a lot of people go to, but it basically is the same as the iTunes Store. And go to Amazon Music, and here, a lot of people have the streaming service up here, so I'm a Prime member and I can stream all this music, but you can also buy here as well. So I go under Buy Music, and I want to go to the Download Store. And now you can search just like I did the other one. And so I've already done that search. I'll bring it up. I'm not going to buy it a second time, but it takes you into this Amazon Music interface. Here's my song. You can listen to it, a sample of it. And then out here on the right, you can go to these three little dots, and here's where you can actually purchase it. And I'm not obviously going to buy it. I've already got it, but if you want to do the Amazon route and you already have an Amazon account set up, this might be a quicker, easier way to get it than to set up a new account in iTunes. It gives you the same quality. It's a high quality MP3 file, and it'll work just fine for you. Same thing, that will go, it'll download through your web browser and right into your downloads folder, and that's where you go to find it. And again, I would suggest getting it to your desktop or someplace else you're comfortable with working on it. And that takes care of purchasing your music. All right, everybody, this is part 3 of the longer video, which is how to do editing on your Mac. It includes downloading the software, getting it set up on your computer, and then actually doing some basic editing in Audacity on your Mac. It makes the assumption that you've understood the first part or the part before this, and you've been able to purchase your music, and you now have a digital version of whatever music that you want to use for your routine. And so I have that sitting out here, this Taylor Swift song. sitting on my desktop, and now I need to go and edit it. Here is the click-by-click version of what you need to do on a Mac computer. Open up a web browser, get Google up, do a search. Yes, I'm going to move rather quickly, but you can always rewind, fast forward as needed. And I am searching for Audacity download. Here it is. Here's the program, and it's going to take me right to their download site to get it. Make sure you grab whichever version is appropriate for you. If you're on a Windows, on a Mac, whatever, I'm obviously grabbing the Mac version. And that is downloading my computer now. It's a fairly small program, so it should download rather quickly. And I'm going to go into my downloads and take a look. Here it is. And I'm going to open that up. On a Mac, it's got one of the quick installers where you can just drag and drop it. And so right from this folder, I can drag the Audacity icon into the applications folder here, and it will install it on my computer. It's very quick. At this point, I'm done with the web browser. I can quit out of it, and I can go to my applications folder. So I'm on the Go menu in the Finder. I'm going to Applications, and here's Audacity, and I can open that up. These are just some intro pieces coming up here. I'm just zipping through these just because I just downloaded it onto this computer. Closing down this other stuff, make it easier to see for you, and I'm going to get the Audacity mixing window and open that up a little bit. As an option, you might need this is an advanced format, and so if you happen like me, I grabbed the new M4A format of music off of the iTunes store, and most iTunes music now comes in this way. It's a new advanced format. Audacity is pretty basic, and you need an add-on for it. So I'm here. This is the download page where I downloaded Audacity from. But back on that page, if I scroll down further, it talks about this FFmpeg, import-export library. You need that if you're going to use this newer music. So you click on it. It takes you here. And then there is this link called Installing FFmpeg. So go ahead and click on that. And again, you'll have to do this on Windows too, but I'm just showing you the Mac version right now. And then you go to Mac OS and you click download here, and it gives you some instructions here what you need to do. So when you finish downloading, open the package, you'll be guided through installation, and then you need to restart Audacity. So I'm going to grab that file. Here it is right here. It's down here. I'm downloading from Mac OS, obviously. It's not a very big file, but that site must be pretty slow. Just bear with me here while this downloads. While this is downloading, if you downloaded the MP3 version, again, still good quality, but if you got the MP3 version from Amazon Music, you should not have to do this. MP3 files work natively in Audacity now. You used to have to put this adder on for those as well, but the newer versions, MP3 works natively. But if you're going to use the M4A file format, which is the higher quality version from iTunes, then you will need to do what I'm doing right now. All right, I'm going to open that package up, zip through the installer really quick. You will need your administrative password for your Mac computer. All right, we're done there. So hopefully I can now open Audacity, and it should be able to read that file format. So I go File, Open. On my desktop is the song Antihero, and I open that up, and there I go. and it's now available in Audacity, and I'm ready to edit. I look at my song, and it's just over 3 minutes and 15 seconds, which obviously is not long enough to get through an entire routine. So I need to loop it. And again, I'm just showing you the very basics of what to do. Typically, I want to take a long enough section that it'll get me out past 5 minutes. So I'm just going to grab this right here. And this works just like a word processor, like I'm highlighting text in a word processor. And I'm going to go to Edit, Copy. I then want to add a new track beneath this. So I go up to Tracks, and I go to Add New. And I want to add a stereo track, because all the music I'm working in is stereo. There we go. And on that new track, down here, kind of near the end of that song, I want to paste in what I made a copy of. All right, I'm just scrolling right here a little bit. You can scroll just like you're scrolling through a document, any other document. And what I'm going to do is, near the end of the song here, I'm going to delete this kind of stuff at the end, kind of the ending of the song. I'm going to chop it off right here. So I'm highlighting it, and I'm hitting the delete key on my keyboard. And then you can zoom in. And so those are the magnifying glasses up here in the toolbar. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this section that I'm working on. And I want to do a fade out on the top track. Generally, 3 seconds is kind of a good rule of thumb for that. So I'm going to highlight the last 3 seconds. I'm going to go up to Effects in the menu at the top and go to Fading. And I want to do a fade out. Then on my bottom track that I copied, same thing. I want to take about 3 seconds, and you notice I'm sliding this into position here. And I want to take about 3 seconds, the first 3 seconds, highlight it, and go up to Effect, back to Fading, and I want to do a fade in. Now, you'll have to listen to this and slide this back and forth until you get it to sound the way you want. I'm going to overlap them by about 2 seconds or so. Maybe a little bit more, maybe closer to the full 3. I'm just moving this a little bit. And now I can go back and listen to this. And hopefully I'm going to get the music up decent enough that you can hear it. And there we got it. Again, if you don't like the way that sounds, slide this back and forth a little bit until it sounds pleasant to your ears. But this is a great fade right here. And if I zoom back out, I can now see that my song altogether goes all the way out to about 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Beautiful. It's going to run out longer than my routine. I'm good. The only last step that I need to do is I need to export this. So my mix is done. I've looped it. I now have a long enough piece of music, and I go to File, and I go to Export. For now, you want to export as an MP3 file. That's still really the standard that we're using at all of the tournaments and competitions. So go to Export as MP3. Find a place that you want to put this. I'm going to put it on my desktop. Please help out your sound people, both at your own shows and also at the tournaments, and give this a good name that makes sense. So, I'm going to, let's say I'm mixing this for Angela Yockler to compete with. I'm going to put her last name, underscore, first name, Swivel Routine. All right, so put that all in there in your file name. That will really help out. We're doing a file type of MP3. Here are some pieces that you want here. We want a constant bit rate. That would be my suggestion. Do bit rate constant and crank this up a little bit. Now, do realize the higher you go, the larger this file is going to be, and you still need to transmit this digitally to the sound folks for the tournament. So my best recommendation to you is 256 is good. It's going to give you good quality, decent sound quality when it's amped up at a big sound system. But the file size should still be reasonable, and channel mode should be stereo. All right, so if you look at all these settings again, I'll just leave this up on the screen for just a second, and then click save. It's letting you know what's going to happen. Tracks are going to be mixed down into one stereo file. That's exactly what you want. Hit OK. This is called metadata for tagging for MP3 files. You don't need to worry about this. You're not doing anything special with this. Just hit OK. Depending on the speed of your computer, this could take a few seconds. This is a very fast computer I'm on. I'm all set. And if you look over here in the lower right-hand corner, I now have an MP3 file. It has the competitor's name on it. It lets the sound people know what it's for. Swivel. If you're doing swivel pairs, I would put swivel pairs in there. Doubles. Whatever you are competing, whatever division you're in for that stuff. And this file is now ready to transmit. How do you get it to the tournament, folks? It varies from tournament to tournament. Some people will probably say just email it to this email address and you send it as an attachment to an email. It'll work just fine. Some people, more and more I'm seeing, will have some sort of a cloud-based upload site where you click a link in the tournament documentation and it takes you to, say, a Dropbox or a Google Drive, something like that, a Microsoft OneDrive, maybe JotForm. I know that's been used recently at tournaments. Any of those, and it just says upload your file here and then go select this MP3 file and you're ready to go. Hope that helps. Take care. All right, this is part 4 of this video, and this is the steps on a Windows computer. So a couple assumptions. You have already purchased your music. I have my Taylor Swift song for Swivel sitting right here on the desktop of this screen. It's been purchased through the iTunes store and downloaded, and again, happened to be on my desktop. So from there, I need to edit this song and make it longer to fit my routine. So open up a web browser. Doesn't really matter which one you use, whichever one you prefer. And go to Google and do a search for, let's see here, Audacity download is what you're searching for. And that's going to take you to the Audacity website and directly to the download portion of the website. I'm, of course, looking for the Windows version of this program. And for most computers these days, you want the 64-bit installer. You might have an older computer that's still 32-bit, but generally the 64-bit is going to be just fine. Along the way, if you downloaded music from the iTunes store, it is using the new MPEG-4 or M4A format, it's called. That's a newer, more advanced version of MP3. And you will also need, further down on the downloads page, this FFmpeg import and export library. You will need to add that. Audacity is great because it's free, but it's a pretty simplistic program. And you will need to expand its capabilities with this. So I click here on this link. And it tells you, exactly what you're looking for. But basically what you want to do is go to this link where it says installing FFmpeg. Click on that. And once you get there, there are instructions for how to do it, but here is the download link you're looking for. Make sure you're getting the Windows version, of course. And click on this link. And then you need to find the correct version that you need. So I'm going to scroll down. It's further down the page here. And I am on a 64-bit Windows computer, so I am grabbing this one right here. And again, most of your computers are probably 64-bit at this time. And it's going to download that as well. So the first thing I need to do is install Audacity. So down at the bottom here, I'm using Google Chrome, so my downloads show up at the bottom. I can click right on them here and get this open. And it's just coming up, do you want to install this? Yes, I do. and just go through these startup screens. I know I'm moving fast, but you should be able to rewind if you need to. All right, so it asked me if I want to launch Audacity. You can do that if you want, finish it up. However, I still need to go back and install that FFmpeg program as well, or it's a plugin really for Audacity. Sorry, this computer is not the fastest one on the planet that I'm using here. All right, here's Audacity. These intro screens, you can just keep hitting OK to get through them. And one thing you need to do, though, you need to close Audacity. So if you launched it like I just did, close it. Then I'm going back to Google Chrome down here in the lower left, and I'm going to launch this other installer to let it work with some of the newer audio formats that are out there. I'm just zipping through these real quick, letting it do its install. I'm done there, and now I'm done with the web browser as well. So I can close that down, get that out of here. And then from there, I can now, I told Audacity to create a link right here. So I can open that up. And I'm going to open this window up a little bit so you can see it. And what I need to do now is I need to open my song that I purchased in Audacity. So I'm going to go File, Open. I'm going to go out to my desktop where that file resides. There's my song. Open it up. All right. So I got my song open in Audacity. These programs are often called waveform editors or sound editors. And again, we're using Audacity because it's free. And my problem is that I have a 5-minute routine, but I only have 3 minutes and 15 seconds or thereabouts of music. Again, there are a lot of different ways to do this, and there's a lot of nuances and artistic ability that can go into remixing music. All we want to do is loop this and make it longer. And that's all I'm showing you here today. So what I want to do is grab a good chunk of the music. I'm going to start way back here. And I'm just highlighting, by the way, just like I'd be in, say, Microsoft Word or a text document, and I'm dragging over text. I'm doing the same thing here. You can see it highlighting in white in the background right to the end. And I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to go to Copy. Next thing I want to do is I need to create a new track for that music I just copied. So I go up to Tracks in the menu at the top. I go to Add New, and I go to Stereo Track. That's what we're working in here is stereo. And then in that new track, I can click down in it somewhere. I'm going to go near the end of the previous song. I'm going to click there, kind of put the cursor there, so to speak. And I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to go to Paste. And it's going to paste in that music that I copied. Now, we want to make this sound good because right now it's not going to sound very good. It's going to sound a little choppy. So here's some quick recommendations on how to do that. I'm going to take the end of the first track and highlight it, the last several seconds of that. Well, let me do that again. And I'm going to hit the delete key. I'm going to get rid of that. So I'm deleting that out. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so I can get a closer view on this. That is the magnifying glass up in the toolbar. I'm going to hit the plus to zoom in a couple times there. And what I want to do, 3 seconds is kind of a good rule. Use your own testing and your own ears to listen. 2 seconds is fine as well. 4 is probably okay as well. I generally use 3 seconds as a good way to transition from the first piece of music to the second piece of music, or from first track to second track. So I'm going to highlight 3 seconds in my top track here. This is near the end of the song. So there's about 3 seconds. highlighted. I'm going to go up to Effect and to Fading, and I'm going to go to Fade Out. On my second track then, I'm going to highlight about 3 seconds as well. And then I'm going to go up to Effect, Fading, and I'm going to do a Fade In. All right, that part all looks good. Now, I need these to overlap in a way that it sounds pleasing to the ear. I've done this a bunch, so graphically I'm looking at it, and as one fade out starts, I typically want the fade in of the other one to begin. Play it, listen to it, see what it sounds like. I'm going to tell you I don't have the greatest speakers in the world right here to listen to this, so we'll see what we get here. That sounds pretty good. I know it's bad sound quality coming over the microphone. So graphically, you should be able to see this, how the fade outs and the fade ins overlap. All right, this looks good to me. It sounded pretty good. Obviously, if I get it on better speakers, I don't have great speakers on my Windows computer here. I'm going to zoom out. So I'm going back up to the magnifying glasses. I'm going to zoom out a couple of times. And now I can see that my entire song with track 1 and track 2 goes way out to 5 minutes and 30 seconds. That's great. That takes me well beyond my time limit for my routine. So now I'm not quite done. I need to export this as a single track, as a single song, in a file format that'll work for tournaments. So I'll go up to File, I go down to Export. There's several different audio formats here. Please do not use WAV anymore, W-A-V. That is an old Windows sound format. Some of you may still be familiar with it. Don't use it. It's becoming less and less compatible. Please use MP3 at this time. Export MP3, give it a name, and for the benefit of all sound crews everywhere, whether this be the tournament sound people or your own home site sound crew, give it a file name that helps describe what this is. Don't use the song name in it. So I'm going to pretend that I just created this for Angela Yockler to compete for Swivel. I'm going to put her last name, her first name, there's an underscore in between, and then I'm going to put Swivel Routine. That lets the sound people know that this is for Swivel. If you're doing swivel pairs, I would put swivel pairs or doubles or whatever division you happen to be competing in would be there. But then put your last name always as the first part of this. That way it helps alphabetize on their equipment. We're saving it as MP3. I'm going to change a couple of settings down here in the format. I'm going to go to a constant bit rate. The higher the bit rate, the better the quality, but also the larger the file size. And you still need to transfer this electronically. So my suggestion right now, a good bit rate is 256. It's going to give you good sound, and the file size won't be that big. You'll still be able to email it if need be. And then channel mode, go to stereo. So here's these settings. I'm going to leave this up for just a couple of seconds here so you can see it on the video. Those are the settings you want. Make sure you know where you're saving it to. I'm saving this to my desktop, so it's easy to find for me. And then I'm going to click Save. It's telling you, do you want these tracks mixed down to one stereo file? Yes, absolutely you do. That's what you want. Just click OK. This is metadata for MP3 files. You don't need to know what it is. You're not using it. Just click OK. Depending on the speed of your computer, this can take several seconds. This computer isn't very fast, so you see it's churning through this file a little bit as it's converting it. Now I'm just going to minimize this, and here is my file. Right here on my desktop, named with the competitor's name and Swivel on it. This is now what I transmit digitally to the sound people at the tournament, or if I'm doing it at my own home site, to my sound people. How are you going to transfer this? I can't answer that in this video. It's been different for tournaments recently. It might be just an email address that's in the tournament documentation. It says, please email as an attachment to this address. That'll work. This is small enough you can email this with any email system. So that might be option number one. More popular in recent years has been a cloud upload service, and it could be different for different tournaments. It might be a Dropbox, it might be Google Drive, it might be a Microsoft OneDrive. Most recently, the JotForm cloud service has been used. But again, that should be in the tournament documentation. Check that carefully. Find out where you need to upload that to. And when they ask you to select the file to upload, here it is. It's this MP3 file that you just created, and that's what you send. Hope this helps. Take care.